tonight's competitors that are here to go all the way, including a legend that is one of my 70 co-hosts. He isn't here to play. He tied Gerald Briscoe in the qualifying round, and for him, it's about the pride. He's an Olympian, Hall of Famer, and a legend. His experience will be his guide. Will he win all 5 rounds of this single elimination tournament, beginning with a victory tonight? He's qualified and hungry. Watch out for this man's bite. Strength, wisdom, intellect are some of his calling cards. He's always ready. All one has to do is say when. Let's welcome a dear friend and fierce competitor, last name Patera, first name Ken Patera.
How you doing, Avi? It's great to see you again.
You're fired up. I saw you in the back, my friend.
Well, it's not hard for me to get fired up about anything. I'm ready, willing to do what it takes to win.
Yeah, you told me over the phone.
Jeremy London kid,
right?
You know, I bet he's still wishing that he was as old as me, so he could have played along with beach blanket bingo with Net Funicello and those guys, you know.
Frankie, right? Frankie, I forget his name. Frankie Avalon. Frankie Avalon. There you go. Frankie Avalon. Yeah. Great movie. Classic. But Ken, we know about classics, but you've told me over the phone. We talk a lot, guys. Ken and I have been working for 2 years plus. 70 shows. We're happy to say that the green room right here on Saturday nights is what's ushered in all this viewership. 7-figure views watching us on 51 pages every Saturday. The last time we've had less than 7-figure views was in 2021. So, guys, you're the engine that makes this thing go. All of you watching, you'll be voting as well. And the way it works, guys, is it'll be best of three topics. After both men finish, then you guys can start voting. Our judges in the back will vote as well. There'll be 2 wildcard voters also. Guys and gals, the winner advances to round number 2. Round number 2 won't start probably till the fall or so. But Ken, you have told me this because we speak a lot. It is about the pride. Yeah, there's a trip for 2 to Greece. Yeah, there's $11,000 on the line. But for you, it's the pride. And you told me that you've been researching, studying, and that round number 2 and beyond is on your mind right now.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I like the material that we're debating, especially about the Supreme Court.
Yep, I'll bring that up momentarily. Yep, I'll bring it up.
All the bullshit that's going on in Congress nowadays, bitching and complaining that the Democrats say it's unfair that the Republicans have more Supreme Court seats than they have. So they want all that, the original stuff thrown out. They want to make their own rules now.
You're ready to go, and I could tell. And you know what, guys? Ken is an original. There's no doubt about that. Ken's an original, guys. We'll lay out the topics momentarily. I want to bring in Jeremy. But Ken, again, I just want to emphasize this. For you, it's about the pride, not so much the prize. Am I right?
Yeah, right. It's all about the pride, you know.
But Ken Patera, I got to say this again. Mark Henry might be someone you might be facing in this tournament. You've told me again that you are looking at the field of competitors, Oscar winners, Hall of Famers. Doesn't matter who they are. You want to go through all of them and win this whole thing and be the last one standing atop that mountain. And Ken, here are some of your great moments in the qualifying round.
Thorpe was my hero when I was about 10, 12 years old. This guy sacrificed his body every game, every night that they played. Hondo gets my vote mainly for his tenacity, his ball handling, his rebounding. But Dolly Parton, whoever you pick, she's gonna smoke them. She's bought like 160 million books for kids.
Ken Patera, guys and gals, qualified along with Gerald Briscoe. Again, guys, an exclusive field. A lot of people legit from the heart are knocking on the door saying, hey, can we be a part of this tournament? As of this week, the last 2 spots, no, nobody else can, guys. We do have Dakin Matthews with 2 mystery opponents, but there we go. So, guys, this is it. Round number 1, single elimination. I want to bring in Ken's competitor, who's also a dear friend. And man, oh man, guys and gals, Ken Patera's a competitor right now. His competition is one of the favorites to win this entire tournament, as this man brings a ton to the table. He's a storyteller, teacher, artist, director, and a Renaissance man. Move over, Clark Gable. He and I host From London to You on TKN, and the man truly tells it like it is. He's down to earth and real. Nothing about him screams showbiz. He tied Fred Ottman in the qualifying round and seeks to go all the way. His mind works wonders, and tonight it'll be on full display. These are two men that don't have a superficial bone in their body. No need for bling bling. It's time for my rhymes to cease, as I'm just about ready to ring the bell. Ding, ding. Gobble up this entertainment, guys and gals. Funner than Pee-wee on a unicycle, yet more intense than a date with a Halloween specter by the name of Michael. You're watching us from near and afar, from Maine to Spain, on a plane, or with your girl Jane. Get ready to vote. On this match, feel free and welcome a good friend and Renaissance man, last name London, first name Jeremy. Jeremy London. Welcome, my friend.
Hello, sir. Good to be here.
I could see the intensity. Jeremy, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Ken. Is it about the pride of winning this thing?
Of course it is. No, I want to go to some money. What are you talking about pride? I have no pride. I'm an actor.
It's about
I'm kidding.
$11,000. Jeremy, you were saying that it is about the pride, sure, because you didn't even know at the beginning of this tournament during the qualifying round that $11,000 was on the line.
No clue. No clue. I just thought this was a fun thing to do.
You're here to win this thing.
Yeah, heck yeah, I'm here to win it. It's the only way. It's just it's in my DNA. I don't know any other way, but I also am not one of those people that like, if it doesn't happen, then I just believe, well, maybe it wasn't in the cards, and that's, the universe speaking to me. But I do try my best to win. I think everybody,
of course,
probably at least wants to.
Yeah, our viewers, guys and gals, everyone that you've seen thus far has shown you how much they want to win this entire thing. It's exclusive. Ken, you told me again that you're ready to go. Do you have any words for Jeremy? Jeremy, any words for Ken before we start?
I heard his words to me, and I'm scared.
Yeah.
Honestly, no. Mr. Patera. Did I hear you say Von Erich, by the way? Did you wrestle the Von Erichs? Any of the Von Erich?
I did. I worked for Fritz Von Erich out of Dallas, Texas.
I'm from Dallas.
I want to say, 74.
Nice.
Yeah, back
I used to watch.
April of 74, I went down there from Minneapolis.
Wow, that's the Fritz. Yeah. He's
all his boys at that time.
What was that? The Dallas Sportatorium, I believe, right? Back then?
Yeah, the Sportatorium.
Yeah. Such tragic.
Well, the boys were
like the Kennedys of professional wrestling, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boys were really young back then. They were still in grade school.
Yeah, they would have been really, because I watched.
Yeah. Now, Ken, it seemed like you're again. Are you ready for Jeremy London? You were talking a little bit the last few weeks. Anything you want to say to Jeremy? We're going to start things off right now.
I was just talking smack and talking
I
shit.
like it. Bring it, buddy.
Yeah, that's all I talk about.
Looking at it right there, guys. The TKN Celebrity Grand Debate Tournament. We have the Hall of Famer versus a Renaissance man. All right, guys. Topic number 1. I'm going to ask Ken Patera to call heads or tails to see who goes first. Ken, heads or tails?
Heads.
Heads. It is tails. Jeremy, do you want to go first in this topic, or do you want to go second?
I will go first.
Jeremy London will go first, and let me break down this topic. Let me also remind Ken and Jeremy that during this debate, every person will have 6 minutes. Each competitor in this tournament has 6 minutes to make their point. 6 minutes. During those 6 minutes, the opposition can have a retort, a rebuttal of sorts. All they have to do is raise their index finger, and they can have a rebuttal for about 60 seconds. So you can still rebut while the other person is speaking. That could happen. If not, and it's not mandatory, then the allotted time that we're providing is 6 minutes per topic. So let's talk about our opening topic here, guys and gals. A Supreme Court is typically the highest court within the legal hierarchy. They're also known as the highest court of appeal. Since the Supreme Court judges are individuals with their own personal beliefs and political preferences, the process of how Supreme Court judges are appointed is very important. In the U.S., for instance, members of the Supreme Court of the U.S. are appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. There are pros and cons as it pertains to how members of the Supreme Court are elected. For instance, a popular vote could make judges more independent politicians. Now, this, in theory, could reinforce the democratic separation between the branches of government. However, popular elections have some clear disadvantages as well. Citizens may not have enough information as others be elected despite their individual qualifications. Jeremy London will make a case for why he believes Supreme Court justices should be elected by the people rather than appointed by the president. Ken Patera, when Jeremy's finished, will make a case for why he believes the Supreme Court justices should continue to be appointed by the president rather than elected by the group of people that I mentioned, guys and gals, all of us. So with that, Jeremy London, if you are ready to go, my friend.
I am.
And guys, how can I forget to bring up, these are some of Jeremy's greatest moments in the qualifying round as well. Let's play some of those.
Scarface itself, and understand that in the cosmos, there is an almost finite number of universes, and we'll still quote that movie. There's no way that this one little speck of dust just happens to have all of the right stuff. Gangsters of the 1920s, bootlegging, all of that stuff. That was our grandfathers and our great-grandfathers. Not to mention the countless number of bizarre things that the government has released lately. What other movie is more iconic than, Say Hello to My Little Friend?
There you go, guys and gals. That was from the qualifying round. So with that, the next time you'll see this mug is if we're about to expire. Those 6 minutes might expire. I'll pull up a 20-second countdown clock once those 6 minutes are about to expire and come to an end. Jeremy, if you're done prior to 6 minutes, just let me know and I'll come back in.
Will do.
Guys and gals, Jeremy London, in a 3, in a 2, in a U.
Well, I am arguing on the fact that I believe that Supreme Court judges should be elected. And I'll tell you why. I think that this is kind of something that actually has come to light more recently. I think that our president should have the, very specific, rights to be able to pick people like that. But I think that what happened in this last, let's say 2016, the guy that lost the popular vote became the president. And so the guy that lost the popular vote is now picking lifetime appointees that aren't going to represent the majority. The number one issue that has changed things for me is the Electoral College. And I know this was from the Electoral College was from a long time ago, but the Electoral College actually gets in the way of actually really speaking for the majority and the people that when more people vote, they should be the winners. There shouldn't be another entity deciding on who the winner is going to be, because if that person isn't the winner of the popular vote, then they're getting to make major decisions that are going to affect people's entire lives. These are lifetime appointments. And so I think that I don't know if I would have had the same opinion a couple of years ago, but because of now there is a precedent in which somebody that did not win the popular vote became president. And I think that means that the popular needs to make these decisions, which means we need to vote even on the Supreme Court justices. It needs to be when people go vote, their vote needs to count. They're voting to have that right if they become the majority, to be able to know that their ideologies and stuff like that are going to be protected and taken care of a little bit more so than more extreme possibilities and beliefs and stuff like that. I mean, I definitely lean more left than right, and I'm sure Ken has some things to say about that. I'm looking forward to that. But I do believe that you can make things up, and you can create things, and you can tell lies and this and that. But the facts are the facts, and the fact is that the guy that didn't win the popular vote became the president, and so that's a conundrum. I really just think that we have to restructure a lot of the way that we deal with things and start actually listening to the populace, the people. These politicians are making way too many decisions for personal gain that have nothing to do with the masses. They have nothing to do with taking care of our nation. We've never been more divided. And these topics, the things that are being changed, like Roe versus Wade and all of these things that shouldn't even be on the table, are now becoming things that are polarizing our country whenever we actually have real issues to deal with. And not that that's not a real issue, but I mean, I'm saying that it's become into the forefront. People have made it a bigger thing than what it probably would have been otherwise. I believe that my voice should be heard. If I vote and my side has more votes than the other side, we should be able to decide on who has those lifetime appointments. But that's not what it is anymore, because the Electoral College, we don't have that anymore. So I think that that's off the table. I think that it has to be a direct vote. And I don't have much else to say about it, because I think that is pretty cut and dry. I mean, I don't want to keep yammering and say the same thing over and over. But facts are facts.
Jeremy London, guys and gals, made some very, very good points there. And, of course, we'll turn it over to Ken in a few moments. Guys, remember, you will not start voting until Ken Patera finishes, of course, his viewpoint. Guys, Ken Patera will make his point, and then all of you guys can vote and let us know, of course, who you think won the first topic. The way to advance is to win 2 out of 3 topics. That's how it's going to go. So, Ken Patera, my friend, 6 minutes. Of course, Jeremy can have a rebuttal during your argument if you'd like. Ken, please make a case for why you believe the Supreme Court justices should continue to be appointed by the president rather than elected by the people. After 6 minutes, if you're not finished, I'll cue up the countdown clock. That'll be your cue to wrap things up. Ken, if you're ready, my friend, the floor is yours in a 3, in a 2.
Well, that's an easy decision. When if Supreme Court justices were elected by the populace, the Democrats would find a way to stuff all the ballot boxes and steal the election.
Ken
Patera, Jeremy London has a rebuttal.
Come on, man. Let's just really right-wing talking points here, man. None of that. It's been proven that that's not true. Why are you? Come on, man. That is ridiculous.
The country is divided 50-50, right?
But the Democrats aren't the ones that are doing it, bud. Listen, I have with my dad.
Trump was a Democrat his whole life until he ran for president. Then he switched parties.
Well, I know he said that he was going to be Republican because Republicans are idiots. So that, the people should actually probably remember that he said that. It was not the right thing to say, but he said it. He said they're easily, to sway. And so, I think that that type of just gamesmanship right from the get should just make anybody leery of anything that dude has to say, especially when it comes to and people changing votes and the election. Come on, man.
Instead of switching things around from going from an appointed position to an elected position, let's just keep it the way it's been since the country was founded. It's better to have one person or one party, I should say, because that's what it actually is, appoint these Supreme Court justices. And that way you get a better rhythm. If you have a popular vote for the judges, then it's just going to get out of control.
Sounds like somebody's afraid of Democrats.
Election. Well, there's been several different elections that got screwed up on that popular vote deal. But for elections, I want to leave that as it's always been, popular vote. Let's leave the Supreme Court as an appointed position. Yeah, because the people that would vote for a Supreme Court justice, how many people are going to actually know what that justice has done prior to being elected or being appointed? But I know a little bit, but I have a lot of friends that don't know jack shit when it comes to politicians, judges, even the chief of police, the sheriff in a lot of states. So those are appointed too. Whoops.
Like I did say that I used to agree with that until what happened in 2016 happened. Now the guy that lost the popular vote is making these decisions, and he's made a lot of them. That's my issue. I think that things have changed doing what Donald Trump has done to this country. So it's kind of hard. That was kind of hard to plan for something like that.
Ken, you still have about 3 minutes to finish making your point. Feel free.
All this, okay.
Anyway. I'm out. I won't interrupt anymore. Sorry.
That's all right. So anyway, people don't know what the hell a judge does other than put a black robe on and sit up in front of a courtroom and listens to the different sides, either left or right or whatever. But if it isn't, if it's an elected position, you don't know what the hell you're going to get. You might
that's the same with any politician, any elected office. I think that's
when they're appointed, we know at least that they're going to be either left or right. So we can narrow the field down. But if it's an election that qualifies these people, it'd be just a complete total mess. And
politicians are. Pardon me. Sorry. I'm sorry. If politicians are choosing, then nobody knows who anybody coming to elected office is. And then if politicians are choosing, that means they're going to choose either Democrat or Republican or whatever. I think our judges need to be more down the middle and a little bit less partisan, don't you think? I mean, I think one of the problems with politicians picking these people is that they do dive in and stack the court with people that they know are going to follow their toe their line, regardless of what the populace wants. I think it's a slippery slope.
That's why on the Supreme Court, the justices, they all claim to be friends and they get along fine, behind the scenes. That's what they claim. And so
they also claim
everybody loved Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's just a lovely lady, and then when this is after she dies, by the way, but when she was alive, they all hated the bitch, let's face it.
But I think that I don't want politics in my jurisprudence. These people are literally supposed to be there for everybody, not just one side or the other, I think that's the problem.
Well, I think it was pretty much that way in the good old days. But in the last 20, 30 years, it sure in the hell isn't that way anymore. I would love for it to be, for the people. But now Absolutely. It's not for the people. It's for the goddamn party, whether Republican or Democrat. It's all about the money. Follow the money.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, follow the money. So our legal system has been totally corrupted, especially in the past 2 years. I mean, it is a mess. Leave it at that.
Our economy is the best it's ever been. Unemployment's the best it's ever been. Our country's thriving. We're out of COVID. Everything's so much better now. I just don't understand the last 2 years take from the side. And I do understand where it's come from. It comes from the information that you're getting. And the information that you're getting is coming from partisan. Now our news sources aren't even news sources. And so I'm just frustrated with the whole thing. Like, everybody is polarized when they all have the exact same heart and love for country and family, and we all want the same thing. We're just being fed different information.
We're closer to one another than we realize, actually.
The way we process that information is different, because there's one side that thrives on fear. Scare the hell out of everybody, make sure that everybody thinks that all times everybody's coming to kill them. Everything's out to get you. Scared. Be scared. And we're the only ones that can fix it. We're the only ones that can save you. And so there's that tactic. Or there's the, let people live their lives and be themselves. And, I just don't understand. I don't understand the blind sort of just complete disregard for.
Well, one way or another, guys and gals, and I have to bring this up too.
We're in a better place than we were 2 years ago.
That's called politics. That's called politics. There's a left side and there's a right side. That's called politics.
I was going to say, people root for their politicians now. The way that they root for their sports teams, they root for them based on, right? They don't root for them based on the policies that the politicians.
Cult of personality. Yeah, it's personality now. It's all cult of personality. It has nothing to do with
when I used to teach U.S. history, I would always go up to the blackboard during Do Now, and I would tell my 8th grade students, hey, here's some policies that a particular politician stands for. And I would reverse and swap the policies. And of course, they picked the person that they were infatuated with. They picked on based on popularity. And I would let them know, hey, guys, the jig is up. I kind of switched policies on you. And they didn't know. Yeah. Guys, amazing, intelligent, classy individuals. Not myself, Ken and Jeremy I'm talking about.
This is a tough subject for me, so I apologize, Ken. But thank you for letting me speak my mind there. I kind of needed to. Sorry.
You both did, and Ken, you can also have a rebuttal at any point, at any time. Guys, Jeremy London and Ken Patera brought up their points. And again, they did not shortchange you. So now you get a chance to vote. Now we turn it over to you guys and gals, the judges in the back, and the engine that makes this thing go in the comment section, as you can all start voting right. Well, there you have it, guys and gals. That's topic number 1. Topic number 2 is forthcoming, but for those of you who've said, hey, wait a minute, that's a long rebuttal, you better believe it is. You know why? Because that's a topic that's hard-hitting, and that's what I promised here in round number 1. So sometimes you got to let that slide. Would you rather see competitors go mum and go and stumble and mumble and fumble and bumble? No. They're going to make their points, and I like that. Ken could do the same. It's a passionate topic. You guys are going to start voting. Now remember, get all your friends and family to vote because your votes count. Gus, your points are worth 3. Happy birthday to you, Gus. Happy birthday to my boy, Glacier Ray Lloyd, as well. Happy birthday, guys. Gus's points are worth 3 points. And, of course, Randy Pritchard's first-time 3-point voter as well. I want to see all of you in mass. Start voting now. Let us know who won that first topic. The first to win 2 topics moves on to round number 2. Let's bring in the judges first. Howard Collado, who do you got and why?
So this was very difficult, an amazing topic, Mr. Klein. Jeremy came in with a really great point about how the guy who didn't win the popular vote was elected nonetheless. I was with him there. Ken had a great argument about how the early foundation of our government, talked about how the early foundation of our government, it's something that should still hold weight. However, I needed him to flesh it out a bit more. Ultimately, Jeremy says if politicians vote, it's going to be party-based, and it needs to be more down the middle. While I wanted Jeremy to kind of talk about that a little more, it was still a strong statement, and so my vote.
Did Jeremy London convince you that we, the people, should vote for Supreme Court justices, or did Ken convince you? Our commander-in-chief should do that, which is what?
At the end of the day, Jeremy convinced me.
So who are you voting for?
I'm going to vote for Jeremy.
Jeremy London, Howard Collado, concise points. He's taking his notes, taking judging seriously. Let's bring in Joe Rositano. He's going to let us know who he's got in the comment section. Let's go. Fill it up. Who do you got in this first topic and why? Joe, who do you got?
So my vote goes to Jeremy London. The popular vote needs to count in this case because if we are going to, as people, by the people, for the people, have an ability to vote and get our votes in, we need to be able to have that. While I think that Ken even made a lot of those points himself, that where Jeremy committed was what needed to be done in the first place, and that's why my vote goes to Jeremy.
Joe Rositano votes for Jeremy London. That's 2-0, guys. 2-0 for Mr. London. Let's bring in Eric Heron, the great debate champ. And I agree. Get your votes in, people. Get your votes in now. Eric, where else? Damn it. Where else in any broadcast will our viewers have the right to take a Hall of Famer or a legend or an up-and-comer, hold their fate in their hands and say, my vote can dictate whether you move on and get a shot at going to Greece or winning 11K? Where else?
My survey says only on the new network. That is thenewnetwork.com, KNEWNETWORK.com, ladies and gentlemen. But we are here to talk about Jeremy London and Ken Patera arguing the Supreme Court justices, whether they should be elected or whether they should be appointed. Honestly, I went in having my own beliefs, and I got to say, as great as Jeremy London's argument was, he did make some good points. He did not sell me. He did not convince me that we should make that change, ladies and gentlemen. We are a constitutional republic after all. Therefore, our elected officials have that power. Yes, it's going to be on party lines. They're all elected. Every last one of them are elected. It's going to happen. It's going to stay that way. I got to give my point to Ken Patera. I mean, I got to. There's no stability if you keep changing based on elections. There's no stability.
Eric Heron votes Ken Patera. It's 2-1. Make it 2-2. Let's tally this in back. Julie Hall votes for Ken. 2-2. He kept to the point. Chad says I got to go with Mr. Mallrat on this one, so it's 3-2 Jeremy. Chad votes for Jeremy. 3-2. Mel Red says I vote for Ken. He stayed on topics. All right, that's 3-3, so it's 3-all. Mel votes for. Guys, we're turning it over to you. Start voting. Let us know. Again, no one else, not me. You guys hold the fates of these stars in your hands. Let's see who advances. We're tied up at 3. We have more votes coming in. Gus, whose votes are worth 3 points tonight, says topic number 1 goes to Jeremy. So it's 6-3 Jeremy. Jaleesa votes for her favorite mall rat, Jeremy. It's 7-3, guys. 7-3. Jaleesa, thank you for your vote. Now, Randy Pritchard's votes are worth 3, and he votes Jeremy. Thought Jeremy had this tough conversation. Just like that, it's 10-3, guys. 10-3 in favor of Jeremy. Brian going with Ken Patera. Make that 10-4. Karen going for Ken. Make that 10-5. Or is that perhaps the Dark Cowboy playing mind games with yours truly? Maybe we'll find out. 10-5 in favor of Jeremy. Okay. Julie votes Ken Patera. That's 10-6. But Lori votes for Mr. London, who gets her vote. That's 11. 11 for Mr. Jeremy. But then Phil and Mindy Froley vote for Ken. That's 11-8. Ken is just down by 3. Interesting. Mindy Froley and Phil voted for Ken. It's 11-8. Let's pull up some more votes as I scroll up here and see what we have. Are there any more votes? There are some more coming down the pike. Everyone does bleed. Even in the pages of a good story, huh? John Red Sr. votes Ken Patera. Look at this. It's 11-9. Guys, Ken needs 2 more points to tie this thing with Jeremy. Of course, those wildcard votes, they mean a lot. Gus and Randy voted for Jeremy. So that does make a huge difference, as you guys are noticing here live. Sean Stasiak, who do you got? Let us know, guys. Keep voting. Keep voting. Pinocchio Joe votes for Ken Patera. Pete Sharpie votes for Ken Patera. We're at 11-11. We're tied. Wow, we are tied just like that. I wonder if there's some more votes coming down the pike. Haven't seen Davis voting yet. 11-11. Interesting. Davis votes London. That's 12-11 in favor of Jeremy. Beverly Presley votes Ken. It's 12-all again. We are tied again. You guys can go back and replay this. As you can see, your votes, do the math. It has always been down to the wire. I found it so interesting that last match, Pete Babcock, Scott Winters, Pete said, man, it's like game 7. He was down 1-0 in those topics in a best of 3 and then came back and won the next 2. Man, it's just down to the wire every week. We're tied right now, guys. It is 12-all. 12-all. Not seen Hauser yet vote. Oh, was so close. We are tied at 12. Let's see who gets this vote. I have not received votes from Ed. I have not seen your votes just yet. Robert, haven't seen your votes either. Miranda, have not seen your votes. Nope, not yet. Not yet. I have not seen a few votes. Danielle Young, haven't seen yours. So Kara J votes Jeremy London, which makes it 13-12 in favor of Jeremy. But then Roger Valine votes Ken Patera to make it 13-13. Jeez Louise. Oh, it was so close. 13 all, guys. 13 all. Who else do we got that's voting? I'll wait about 30 seconds, and then I got to declare this a draw. If it's a draw, that means it will go to a wild card round. Jeez Louise. And it was pretty heated, guys. As you saw, Jeremy went right at Ken. No fear. That's what you have to do to win this tournament. Absolutely. Let's get your votes in, guys. I agree with you, Chad. Come on, guys. All right. So we are tied at 13-13 right now. It's 13 all. We need a few more votes, guys. If you have not voted, let us know. Did Jeremy London win that first topic, or did Ken Patera win? Let us know. Yeah, Stacy Trimble, you're watching. You can vote. Let us know who you think won that debate. Type in Jeremy London's name or Ken Patera's name, and we will count your vote. It's that simple. The 3 points are definitely huge. Ken would be up had Gus and Randy, of course, not voted for Jeremy. But hey, look, man, that's what the wildcard voters do. They dictate a lot. It is, if I'm not mistaken, I counted Mindy's vote. It is 13 all. All right, guys, I guess I have to start counting. I haven't seen Hauser's votes anywhere. Hauser might be a little lazy because he already got eliminated, so maybe he doesn't care. Let's see if Hauser votes for Jeremy or for Ken Patera. Karen, I did get your vote. Karen Price, not Karen Calabretta, didn't get her vote yet. Let's see some more. Sean Stasiak did not get his vote in. I'm just trying to scroll up to see if I missed it. I did not. This is only the first topic, guys. Only the first topic. Absolutely incredible. All right, I'm going to start counting down unless I see another vote coming in here. We'll start counting down. We got another vote. Let's see. Is that Hauser? I can't see Hauser's votes. I don't know who he's voting for. All right there. Don't know. Can't quite pull it up. This was an amazing topic. Absolutely. We're tied. We are tied. I'm going to count. Guys, 30 seconds. 30. 29. 28. 27. 26. 25. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. We're tied. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hauser votes for Patera. Wow. Hauser votes for Patera. So Ken is up by 1, guys. Let's start the countdown again from 15 seconds. Can Jeremy tie it again? 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ken Patera goes up, guys. 1-0. Wow. Let me bring the gang in. Let me bring in Jeremy and Ken, guys. This is incredible. Guys and gals, we appreciate you guys flooding the comment section, as always, with your votes. But we're not done, because topic number 2 now is before us for Ken and for Jeremy. So let me announce it here, because athletics and fine art programs are vital to school success, and they speak to me. Both of them speak to me. How they're funded can oftentimes lead to athletics and fine arts competing against each other for the same pool of funding. I played high school and college sports, but I also was involved in the dramatic arts. I know Jeremy was as well. Ken was as well. So they can speak on this, and they will. You see, the problem with the important role athletics and fine arts have on the greater society is how they're funded in K through 12 public education. Many times the funding could be non-existent. And most of the time, it's not specifically earmarked for expenditures through state legislatures or through local board policy. The funding directed at public schools is mostly for academics, such as English, math, reading, science, social studies. Athletics and fine arts are often viewed as extracurricular only. And as such, some people feel like funding for those programs should be minimal, non-existent, or that those programs should be self-funded through fundraising or grants. But what happens when there's only so much funding to go around Although this will not be a competition between sports and fine arts, Ken and Jeremy will make a case for their importance. You, our incredible viewers, will be voting on who you think made the better argument. So Ken, you'll start things off. Ken will make a case for why an increased budget nationwide for sports programs in all schools K through 12 are necessary. And when Ken is finished, Jeremy will make a case for why an increased budget nationwide for fine arts programs in all schools K through 12 is necessary. A lot on the line, guys and gals. Single elimination tournament, 11 grand on the line, trip for 2 to Greece. Right here, second topic. Ken, are you ready?
Yes.
Ken, in a 3, in a 2, in a U.
Well, the fine arts and athletics are, basically responsible for molding the personalities of our children. And to eliminate either one of those would be a grave mistake. So I know when I was in high school, there was enough funding, we accepted it, but later on, about 8 or 10 years after I graduated from high school, they started awarding scholarships to different, one school in a school district would go after a great athlete from another school and allowed them to transfer over to their school, as long as they were, within reason. When I was in high school, you couldn't do that. The school that you're in, that's where you're going to participate. And the same, if you wanted to go out for theater, the fine arts or whatever, you want to play on the school band, the marching band, let's say, that's where you landed. But then, like I say, 8-10 years later, these schools were invading other schools to get fill in what they were lacking, in talent. And so there was this one school in Portland, Oregon, that had the best football team in the city or in the state, because they had the money, they had their alumni. It was a very wealthy area. Hell, they just went out and bought all the best players and hired the best coaches. Coaches were making like $1,200-$1,400 a year. Next thing you know, they're making $10,000-$12,000, and the kids were leaving a lot of these schools that had horrible athletic programs, and they wind up from being on a lousy team to the state championship team a couple years later. And so if that there's ways around the funding is what I'm getting at. So if, I don't know, I think we ought to just leave it the same. Because
but Ken, if you were to argue, but if you were to have to argue why, in your case right now, if you were to argue why an increased budget nationwide for sports programs should trump an increased budget for perhaps arts programs, how would you make that case?
Oh, on that, like I got a little off the line. Well, I don't know. Do you want to say something, Jeremy?
I was saying recruiting does need to be handled. I think that high school recruiting and stuff like that should be outlawed. I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah, well, that's what I was getting at.
And I hate to put you on a life raft. If we're on the life raft and there's excess baggage, and we have to just dump some stuff off the we need both. We need a lot of things there. But if you were to pick sports over the fine arts, Ken, how would you make that case, my friend?
Well, I'd go with the sports, because they, in a lot of situations, they actually pay for themselves. I live in Minnesota now, and I know some of these big schools, they have unbelievable budgets, but they draw like 5,000 kids or people paid attendance for basketball games. That some of them draw 10, 15,000 paid attendance. They draw 10, 15,000 paid attendance for football games. And then you get the golf doesn't draw anything. Tennis doesn't draw anything. I'm talking for high school.
So why should sports be funded over the arts?
Well, the arts, they put on plays and have raffles and everything else, and they pull in a lot of money. So, but that's year round. Where the athletics, they play for 3 months, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is, and they play to a certain 9, 10, 11 games a season. So the money basically comes out the same. I've been told this by school administrators that there really isn't that big of a difference for financing. When you figure in the school district puts in a certain amount of money, that's divvied up amongst the schools equally. And then the better schools that are able to go to championships and have big followings, instead of one school drawing 500 for a game, the bigger school with the most money, the most prestige, they're drawing 5,000 to 8,000, 10,000 for every game. So in that respect, they can afford to go raid these other schools and offer scholarships to their better athletes. And so I don't know. It's a tough one to figure out. What should really be done? I don't know.
Ken Patera, guys and gals.
Everybody has an opinion.
That's true, and you made yours known. And guys and gals, Ken, a former educator as well. Always love Ken's opinions, guys and gals. And of course, Jeremy and Ken have done their due diligence on these topics. I will kick it over to the very astute Jeremy London, who will make a case for why an increased budget nationwide for fine arts in all schools K through 12 is necessary. Are you ready, my friend?
Yes, sir.
In a 3, in a 2, in a.
Well, I think that you kind of answered you basically were talking about all these schools that already have money for all of these sports programs. And basically that is historically correct in our country. Sports programs get far more funding. I went to a high school in DeSoto, Texas. We had a $2.5 million AstroTurf football stadium. And I was also in drama. And it wasn't even considered actually like a class. It was literally the drama club. They got no funding, nothing. Whenever we actually decided we wanted to put on a musical, a play, we had to go find an old teacher that had been the drama teacher in the past and raise the money ourselves with the raffles and all that stuff because we had no other source. And we pulled off miracles ourselves, but we had no help whatsoever. Meanwhile, we're seeing new, band trailers and all the stuff that has to do with sports because the band has to be with the sports. So let's get the band a new bus along with the football stadium and the football buses and all of this stuff. The bottom line is that sports already has money. People put far more interest in football than they do poetry. It's more interesting to most people. Most people have more of an inclination to play sports than they do to be more cerebral or whatever. And so I think a lot of people, I know I did, I thought I was going to be a professional athlete. And so I was not only an athlete, but I was also and all that stuff, an athlete because that's what's driven into us from birth. But these schools, especially, I went to school in Texas, so football is life there, But I think what, Ken was saying is that things are regional. So you can go to, middle of nowhere in Texas and get nothing. And they go to Dallas, these big metropolitan schools, and they have literally millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they look like colleges. But sports built those colleges. Sports built those high schools that look like colleges. They're a big draw. They bring in a lot of money. They sell a lot of tickets and T-shirts and whatever else, but they get, huge booster support and all that stuff. There is no such thing as a fine arts booster. I don't believe. If there is, please somebody do. So I think that the fact that fall is more popular than poetry is always going to keep the fine arts, struggling. There's no reason why we can't divvy it up a little bit. There's no reason why all of the kids that need help with their futures shouldn't be helped. I've got two sons. One's an athlete and one's a brainiac. They both deserve the same amount of the brainiac's an artist already. He's a young artist. He deserves as much of a boost up as my
Ken Patera is going to make a rebuttal. Ken Patera.
I would let you know, Jeremy, that the fine arts have tremendous amounts of funding in certain areas of the country. In North Dakota,
New York,
in Bismarck, North Dakota, they have a couple private schools there. This one kid graduated back in the 50s. He went to Silicon Seattle, invented some gizmo, became a multi-millionaire, like 100, 200 million. He came back to that little town on the outskirts of Bismarck, North Dakota. It was 12, the whole schoolhouse. Anyway, he rebuilt that place. He put in an auditorium that held like 1,000 people, and there's only 500 kids in the school. But anyway, he built a band room. He bought all new instruments. He built a sound room. Anyway, he put like $6-7 million just into the fine arts program. He didn't put a dime in for athletics.
Okay, yeah, but that was a privately funded venture when we should be able to rely on our government to be divvying it up as fairly to our children as anybody. We shouldn't have to rely on those big money donors to do things that should be taken care of by the state or the country or whatever. I understand what you're saying, but I think that the guy went to a private school, so if he was in the fine arts or whatever, I'm sure it was funded quite nicely as a private school. I think the public school funding and scenario is far different, and in dire straits. Where the money goes, who knows? I don't know where the money goes, but I know that it's not going really to fine arts programs in public schools. Maybe in the private schools, maybe they are, but I would have to probably then bolster that by saying that they probably are then backed by a private wealthy investor rather than the state. Yeah.
Well, when he went to that high school, it was a public. When it was like, I don't remember. Somebody told me that it went private after that. They were on the outskirts of Bismarck, so they were far enough away from the city that they got a charter and turned it into a private school. And that was like, then 5 years later, this kid, he finds out all about it and comes in, pours a ton of money into this school because it had turned private. If it had remained public, he wouldn't have been able to do that because the government would have prevented it.
You think? Does the government keep people from like adding like libraries and gymnasiums and things into public schools if they're going to improve it?
It would have been a big pain in the ass for this guy.
That's some red tape, but that guy sounds like he's a wealthy businessman. I think that was probably a very kind thing of him to do. That they're very, very lucky there to have that gentleman. That's very.
So, Jeremy, essentially what you're saying is that's the exception, not the rule, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Guys and gals, that was one hell of a topic. And again, we thank you guys for doing everything you always do on Saturday nights, which is coming out in droves. We appreciate that. A fellow writer who also is experiencing the strike, just like yours truly, told me that he is looking forward to this very match between Ken Patera and Jeremy London because he doesn't know which way he'll vote because he loves them both. So we know that you guys are, of course, enamored by these two incredible individuals. And if you knew them as human beings, trust me, as talented as they are, they're greater human beings. That being said, we are now down to our judges and our voters. So let's see again. Let's see how you guys vote. Will there be a wild card topic? We'll find out momentarily. Well, guys and gals, if Jeremy loses this topic, he's out of here. Ken Patera will sweep him if he wins this topic. Let's bring in the judges, starting with Eric Heron first.
Well, what an outstanding topic. I don't know where you come up with these things, brother, but I love them, and I learned so much, and I want to debate them myself. Like, this is amazing. Thank you for bringing this to us. And thank you, Mr. London and Mr. Patera, for
June
giving us.
24th, you're going to have some incredible hard-hitting topics against Sean.
Oh, I cannot wait, brother, man. I can't wait. But it's not about me tonight. It's about Mr. London and Patera. And I got to say, Jeremy London took my vote because he's absolutely right. Public funding for schools needs to be divvied up amongst all divisions, not just sports, not just fine arts, but also to the educators themselves. We need to make sure everybody has equal access. Special needs programs need to be updated and publicly funded as well. So my vote goes to Jeremy London. He's absolutely right. We need to spread the wealth some more.
Eric votes for Jeremy. Guys, let's break the record. 1.4 thousand comments is our record. Let's see what we are now. I don't know if we're even near 1,000. Let's get there, guys. Howard Collado, who do you vote for and why?
Sure. So again, amazing topic, Mr. Klein. Very hard.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Gina, as well. And guys and gals, hold on a second. In the comment section, Green Rumors or our viewers, the engine, you guys can start voting now. Even as the judges are voting, I'll read your votes once they're done. Howard.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I love how Ken talked about sports and arts mold the personalities of our children. He also made a great point about a sports season is technically longer than a theater production. What really got me was the rebuttal. Ken started going into that personal anecdote about the personal funder, but then Jeremy came back and said, well, that was a private donation. And then it was a really, back and forth there. That rebuttal is ultimately what won my vote, so I'm going to vote for Jeremy.
Thank you, Eric, for telling in the back. It's 2-0 now, according to Howard Collado and Eric Heron. Let's bring in Joe Risitano. Gus, I see the comment, but you got to vote. I hear that money in your county in northern Ohio disappears into thin air with nothing to show for it. We have the highest increasing tax and price rates and increasing decay. Wyoming is actually pretty bad. I despise the long-term corrupt leadership in my state. Ohio is sadly crying for change, or sadly a reboot, whatever that means. Corporate dollars, my friend, is what it means, whether you like it or not. But with that, Gus, who do you vote for? Again, did Jeremy make a case as to why the fine arts should not be discluded? Or did Ken Patera convince you as to why sports, if there were a choice between two being funded, that sports should be prioritized? Let us know, Gus, who you vote for and why. Joe Risitano, let's bring you in.
Good evening. So my vote is for Jeremy London. While he talked about his life experiences as well as Ken did with where the funds go or who has funding, can they buy more, it all boils down to which should have more of the funds. And that vote for me went with Jeremy because he talked about how while a lot of people have ways to provide for sports and for the dramatic arts, a lot of those funds go rather to the dramatic arts, and the dramatic arts don't have enough. So that said, my vote goes to Jeremy London.
I want to talk to you a little bit later about your match, Joe Risitano, about your debate match. We're going to talk a little bit about this. Guys, don't go anywhere because Joe Risitano, we haven't quite heard about what's going on with his debate match. Look at him smirking. You're looking forward to that conversation a little bit later?
We'll talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Guys, Eric is tallying in the back. Thank you. Right now, it looks like it's 3-0 in favor of Jeremy London, but Gus and his 3 points are going for Ken Patera. I prefer arts, but it's not about what I like. Ken had the best argument, in my opinion. Let me ask you why, Gus. Just let me know. You prefer arts, but Ken had the best argument, in your opinion. Let us know why you think that was. It is 3-1 Excuse me, 3 all, because Gus's points are worth 3. Happy birthday to our friend Gus. Karen votes for Mr. London. That is 4-3. 4-3. What? We were at. It's 4-3. Yes, not 6-3. It's 4-3, guys, in favor of Jeremy. Gus, the only one voting for Jeremy. Excuse me, Gus, the only one voting for Ken, but Gus's points are worth 3. Let's remember that as well. So thank you, Gus Anselmo, and happy birthday again, my friend. So Gus's points are worth 3. Jeremy has 4. Pete Sharpie says Jeremy took this one. It's 5-3 in favor of Jeremy. Laurie says Mr. London gets my vote. 6-3. Ken kept hitting the points beyond the surface issue. Okay. It is 6-3 in favor of Jeremy. Absolutely, Gus. Happy birthday. Jaleesa, my vote was for Jeremy. I'm scrolling up. Don't worry. I got you. Jaleesa, we love you. You're a great fan and a viewer and so much more. 7-3 in favor of Jeremy. Pro wrestling equals fine arts and athletics. Sean, who are you voting for and why? Let us know in the comment section. We have another vote. Julie Hall. Interesting debate. I have to agree with Jeremy London. Give another point to Jeremy. And Cedric, thank you for joining us as well, my friend. You are appreciated. He votes for Jeremy London as well. So 2 straight for Jeremy. Mindy said I vote for Jeremy on this one. Jeremy, coming from Texas, knows how it's here for football, and fine arts does not get the attention it deserves. Mindy votes for Jeremy. Beverly says I'm going to go with Jeremy this time. Thank you, Beverly Presley. Beverly Presley. Excuse me. We have Danielle Young voting for Mr. London as well. So another vote for Jeremy. 2 straight in a row. 1 from Beverly, 1 from Danielle Young. Gina Marie says voting for Mr. London for this one. So it is 12-3 for Jeremy London. Randy Pritchard's votes are worth 3 points as well. Let's see which way he voted. Chad says education over athletics is most important to me, so I have to vote for Jeremy. All right, there we go. Another vote. Brian Clark, the Dark Cowboy, who is obviously playing mind games with yours truly, says, I think that Jeremy stayed on point and explained that all schools need equal funding. Jeremy gets my vote. The Dark Cowboy writing. WRITING and RIDING, no doubt about it. John Rett Sr., I have to go with Jeremy London on this one. Another vote for Jeremy. So 2 straight votes. Phil says, I think that both athletics and the arts are very important. Jeremy made the much clearer points. So Phil votes for Jeremy London. Ken gets Randy Pritchard's votes. And again, Randy's votes are worth 3 points. So add 3 points there for Mr. Ken Patera. Oh, I do see, Sean. I'm sorry. You did vote here. Both men had great points, insights, and stories. You know I love Ken, and Ken got my vote for round 1, but I've got to go with London. Sean Stasiak, one of the best competitors we have here as well. Eric's opponent. We'll be seeing him later on, actually. Sean will be on this broadcast. Sean Stasiak, guys, votes for Jeremy London. Davis Jubilee, who's in this tournament, is also voting for Jeremy London. Hello, sir. Let's have more votes trickling down, and let's acknowledge them. Randy, I just added your 3 points. I did. Mindy votes for Jeremy. Yeah. Kara votes for Jeremy. Roger Verleen says stayed more on point, so going with London. I think it's a landslide. It's 21-6. I'm going to count from 10. If I missed your votes, let me scroll up here and see. All right. Ken Patera showed there's more than factors into it. He hit a lot of the gripes I have. Gus, you can vote any way you'd like. Am I the lone vote for Ken? This makes no sense. Why, Gus? Should everyone vote for Ken because you did? Why is that? Certainly they could vote any way they'd like, right? I'm trying to be fair and honest, but the more I dig myself further, you're not digging yourself into a pickle, Gus. Gus, we love you. You can pick whoever you want. Anybody can pick whoever they want. I just want to know why, and you gave us a great reason why. And I'll tell you why, because the 3-point voters have to be a bit more specific about why they're voting. Because remember something, 3 points can dictate the future of each competitor in this tournament. That could dictate whether they go to Greece or win 11K. Randy, same thing for you, of course. Be in depth if you can. So the 3-point voters, man, oh man, they can really make a huge difference, as you can see. They are difference makers, and that's what you are tonight, Gus. But you can vote any way you want. Joel Bateman, hello. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, Joel. Been with us since the beginning. Let us know who you're voting for. Hauser says Mr. London. Okay. I'm going to start counting from 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's tied up, guys. It is all tied up. We are going to a while. I can't believe what I'm seeing now because, again, for the second or third straight matchup, we are going Wild Card City. Whoever wins this next topic, guys, moves on to round number 2. So let's start. Let's get things going. Let's bring. Oh, guys and gals, we went down to the wild card round. Nobody could have expected that, and that's because of you. We are now tied up 1-1. Wild card round. Winner takes it all. Winner advances to round number dos. I'm excited for this, guys and gals. Our final topic, but either Jeremy London or Ken Patera will advance to the second round of this amazing, exclusive, star-studded tournament of 40. Guys and gals, our final topic is upon you, and Ken and Jerry as well. So, when it comes to remakes, movie studios are no strangers to reviving old properties with new changes. However, remakes are a risky gambit that can be either huge successes or downright disasters. But the real question I have, and the real question to be asked, is what are the advantages or disadvantages of rebooting or remaking old properties for a new generation? Jeremy, my friend, will start things off. He'll make a case, guys, for why Hollywood should continue the popular trend of the remake. And once Jeremy's done, Ken will make a case for why Hollywood should stop rebooting or remaking older films. Jeremy, are you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
In a 3, in a 2, in a U.
You know, Avi, I love these questions that you're posing to us because they make us think. They make me sort of question my own opinion because my initial instinct was just to be like, remakes are stupid. But the positives of remakes, and actually it all started making sense. We are a culture that passes our stories down from one generation to the next, to the next, to the next. There's so many wonderful stories out there that were made a long time ago that, due to the time or just, things not being colloquially the same as they used to be. A lot of kids don't watch black and white movies, that kind of stuff. And so they're missing out on these incredible stories. I think that there are a lot of remakes that are done poorly and they're done wrong. And those should be, it's hard to know when that's going to happen. But the story itself, if we're remaking stories versus movies, and we think about it on that level, and we think about how do we pass this wonderful story on to the next generation, sometimes you have to remake it. You have to make it with a common modern lexicon. Kids today, they're not going to pay attention to, hey, groovy man, like all of that, like whatever, even just, anything, 20s, 30s, 40s, black and white stuff, but even into the 90s, my era, all of that stuff, they sometimes fall flat the first time. Somebody says, great story, great opportunity, I think I can do better. It takes a certain, chutzpah to do that. I think studios like to basically sort of regurgitate things, and that starts happening. That's a problem. It's a big gamble to do a remake, but sometimes they get it right. And when they get it right, that story gets to live on and be introduced to new generations. And oftentimes there's authors and writers. I'm a writer. And so to think that something that somebody wrote that meant a lot of them to them 50, 60 years ago, that's sort of just been lost time. The idea that maybe it has an opportunity to live again and find a new voice with a new modern audience and kids. And that's what perpetuates the telling the story down the line. It's sitting around the campfire. It's the civilizations before there was a written text was all stories, right? We told stories and we passed them along. And we do the same with movies. It's the same thing. And sometimes a story just needs to be retold. And that's all I have to say about that.
Awesome points there by Jeremy London, guys and gals. Again, this is someone who writes. This is someone who's been in the business for a very long time successfully. And of course, Ken Patera is going to go the other route. Ken, guys and gals, little known fact, Ken won't bring this up, so I will. Guys, Ken Patera was offered the role of the Incredible Hulk prior to Lou Ferrigno getting it offered. This is back, Ken, when we're talking about 76, 77, something like that, I think.
No, it's in the
before
80s.
that. Oh, was it that? It was after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were in the World's Strongest Man competition on ABC right after the Olympics a few years later, of course. And then
no, you're right. It was 76, I think it was.
Right.
Yeah, the Hulk was 70s.
Yeah, 76, 77. I had a meeting with Bill Bixby out at Universal Studios in North Hollywood, California. That's where the World's Strongest Men contests were being held. And so he came over and talked to me. Then he talked to Lou Ferrigno and he talked to somebody else too, Bruce Wilhelm. And we all had other things to do. You know, I was on the wrestling circuit, wrestling 6-7 days a week. So I didn't have, and so I asked Bill, I said, Bill, how much would this pay? He said, it would pay about $25,000. I said, well, that sounds pretty good. I said, that's per episode, right? And he said, no, that's for the season. And I said,
wow.
Yeah, well, that's what the pay scale was back in the 70s.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. And so I said, well, Bill, I hate to tell you, but I make that every month. I said,
yeah.
And how long would this be? Well, it'd be about 3-4 months of production. I said, I just can't do it. Yeah, I had bills to pay.
And you had Hulk Hogan's to break as well in the ring, right? Hulk Hogan to tear apart and Ric Flair's and all that, man. You did great. Guys, again, Ken Patera offered the role of the Incredible Hulk. Now, Ken will have to make a case, speaking of Hollywood, for why Hollywood should stop rebooting or remaking older films. Ken, are you ready?
Yes.
In a 3, in a 2, in a...
Yeah, I think Hollywood has gotten way too big for its britches. But when they start doing all these reruns, some of them, like The Godfather, I can see. But the rest of them, like Rocky, I don't think Rocky should have been a rerun.
Sequel?
I think Gone with the Wind could have been a great rerun.
Now, I'll ask you this, Ken, because you bring up a good point. Now, the sequels, some people don't like the sequels. They say, hey, listen, leave it as is. It's great. But I'm talking about actually remaking a film. Taking a film, and instead of continuing the arc into a sequel, remaking the actual film. Why would you be against that? Why would you be against remaking a classic?
Well, because the classics are classics. Like Jeremy mentioned earlier, black and white films. The kids nowadays, they see a black and white film, they won't even watch it. But that's where all the great actors and actresses were. That's when the dialogue was better. Not knocking you, Avi or Jeremy, but there's so much original stuff going in. They couldn't rely on all these fancy electronic gimmicks that are involved in making a film nowadays. And that's what really adds to today's environment. And so everybody wants, like Batman or something like Superman, all the special effects. Well, in a legitimate black and white movie, you didn't have any special effects. There might have been some, but that's what really relied on the ability of the actors to convey their message. And I'm not an actor. Jeremy's an actor. Jeremy, would you like to add to that?
Rebuttal? Yeah.
I would. I think that you kind of almost reiterated my point in that there was all of this great storytelling, and it was in black and white, and kids today aren't going to get that story because they're not going to watch a black and white movie. And so, yeah, the actors were the legends, and they built Hollywood, as the foundation of Hollywood and stuff like that. The writers are key to any of those projects becoming the classics that they became. And so once that's shelved, that writer's voice is silenced. It would be so nice to be able to introduce modern, kids today to those great stories and that great dialogue and all that. They might not get the same actors because those people have passed, but they can have the same dialogue and they can have the same story, right? What a tragedy it would be to lose out on such a lot of these great stories.
That's true, but what I'm going on is the way the movie is projected, from the original to the modern day, if that makes any sense. I don't know if
in the theater.
In the theater, perhaps, Ken? Oh, in general?
No, in the theater. Right. When originally a black and white film, let's say a gangster movie, came on. It was so realistic that it was like James Cagney type of movie, shoot 'em up type of movie. And then the rerun, they rename it, and now it's in Technicolor, but it's the same principle. But everything's changed. It's ridiculous.
Well, guys and gals, I got to tell you, you want to talk about diverse topics. These men handled those topics incredibly well. We went, guys and gals, in our first opening topic, of course, we went from Supreme Court justices. Then we transitioned into fine arts versus sports. And, of course, the rise of the remakes. Now it's in your hands, guys, because we're tied. And that means that this vote that will come from all of you, the masses, will dictate and decide who advances to round number 2, where it's all about the pride and the prize. Will it be Ken Patera, U.S. Olympian and Hall of Famer, Jeremy London, legend, Renaissance man? Who will it be? The vote will go to all of you. Our judges in the back will decide, and then all of your comments will be brought up. Let's find out who wins this first round match. That's it, guys. Now, Ken Patera and Jeremy London have to rely on all of you. All of you can start voting now. Who won that last topic? The Battle of the Remakes. Who convinced you and why? Let us know in the comments section now as I bring in our judges. Howard Collado.
I love how Jeremy was able to actually look at both points. He was able to look at the pitfalls of a remake, and then his point about when it's done right, it speaks to a generation and how that process in and of itself is very beautifully transcendent.
Hey, Howard, do you remember Joel Bateman since day one? Nice to see you, Joel. We like you in the comment section. There we go.
Hell yeah. Amazing.
Averaging over 1,000 comments, guys, from so many different people. We're on 51 different pages, not including my own. Back to business, Howard Collado. Go ahead.
Amazing. So yeah, my votes at the end of the day, who made the better argument? At the end of the day, I believe Jeremy London made the better argument.
Howard Collado votes for Jeremy London, so it's 1-0. Eric, of course. Thank you for jotting stuff in the private chat area, taking a tally. Joe Rossitano, who seems to be quite amused. What is it, Joe? What are you so amused by, huh, buddy?
I'm sorry. My point.
What's striking your fancy, Joe?
Huh? No, we can't. Not now. We must wait.
Stick in a cucumber,
it's
buddy.
time. It's time. My vote. Have to keep organizing this everything. My vote goes to Jeremy London because when done right, remakes can be good, but at the same time, how do we tell them to a generation? While there was a lot of inconsistencies with, first off, saying sequels with Ken instead of the actual remakes itself, Jeremy stayed on the topic with how we move on to our remakes and how their ability. My vote goes to Jeremy.
Jeremy, 2-0, guys and gals. Guys, I don't see your votes in the comment section. You guys realize you can start voting now. I'll bring them up once the judges are done. You can start voting in the comment section right now. The exception of Miranda. She's gone and eliminated. Her votes don't count, so don't bother. Mr. Heron, who you got?
You know, I was really digging this topic because as the host of Real Talk with you as my illustrious co-host, we talk about movies all the time. It's what we do. This is who we are. And I was on Ken's team for a little bit until Jeremy London swayed me. And he swayed me by the fact that I'd looked at it from a whole different light because I hate remakes. But it's a chance to tell a story again to a generation that otherwise probably would never hear it. That spoke to me. And it goes all the way back to the playwrights of Greece. I mean, how many times have we heard the story of Zeus and Hera and Hercules? Everything can get better. Everything can get better, and the story stays the same. So my vote goes to Jeremy London. I love his originality.
Real Talk. We cover films. Eric Heron, very qualified, especially on this topic. 3-0 right now, Mr. Heron. If you could type that in, I'd appreciate it. So, guys, I can already tell that the wildcard voters, and I want to take a moment to really thank all of you guys. I'll do it constantly. on this show. You guys are the engine that makes this thing go. I've been saying that for quite so many years already here on this Green Room program. You have no idea what you've given us. The opportunity to do something for you that you enjoy. We're going to keep pushing ourselves all week long to give you the very best quality entertainment. And we blur lines, and we have debates. We bring in Hall of Famers and mystery opponents and people that you've never seen in years, some that you've seen yesterday, some that are on TV now. We'll give it to you all, guys and gals. Just all you got to do is keep commenting, keep bringing in your friends and family. Even right now, get them over here. Get them to vote because every competitor wants that. I talk to these competitors on a daily basis. They want to win this thing. They want your votes. So remember, the power's in your hands. Why not? Enjoy it. Danielle Young, thank you so much for joining us, Danielle. Appreciate you. I will have to go with Mr. London again. So, okay, Danielle votes for Jeremy London. All right, Joel says he's Gen X, and I do have your vote, Joel. Joel's been with us for quite some time. Thank you for coming back. Beverly Presley, Jeremy London for the win. So Beverly votes for Jeremy as well, as did Danielle. John Red, I think Jeremy London won that one. Black and white films are a turnoff to almost all young folks. Okay. John Red votes for Jeremy. Brian Clark, or I shouldn't call him that anymore after tonight. You guys need to replay this and go back if you missed what the Dark Cowboy, who appeared after so many months, did on this very broadcast. My mood was different. My wardrobe was different. I was a bit more somber for a reason. We'll go back and you'll see. Dark Cowboy votes for Jeremy London. Always enjoy the classics, but if the remake is done right, it can work. Chad, TKN Superfan. Love your tattoos, man. Got some nice, awesome TKN tattoos. Love it. I have to vote for Jeremy. He had amazing points. Another vote for Jeremy from Chad, TKN Superfan, who's with us on Mondays, guys. The review show is going to get really hot really soon. Watch it on Eric Heron's page and Joe Rosatano's page every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where there's a lot of breaking news that we always bring up. Chad's there every Monday. Mindy Froley. Jeremy stayed on point. I vote for Jeremy. As does Karen Price. Karen, thank you for joining us, my friend. Going with London again. 2 straight points for Mr. London. Here we go. Randy Pritchard, whose votes are worth 3 points. One of our wildcard voters. He never had the 3 points before, neither did Gus, so we always try to rotate it out. Randy said, my vote is for Jeremy London. Thought this was his field and knew a little more. 3 points for Jeremy. Lori votes for Mr. London. Cedrics, thank you for joining us again. Votes for Jeremy. And Jaleesa, thank you so much. You're voting for Jeremy. And our second 3-point voter, birthday boy himself, Gus Anselmo, my friend, who says, I vote for Jeremy. I also like how he hits home the point that when done right to a generation, it can be cinematic gold. He did bring that up, so 3 more points for Jeremy. Phil says Jeremy showed such honesty and passion. Davis votes for Jeremy London. Joel Bateman votes for Mr. Ken Patera. It is 21-1. Without Joel's vote, this might have been the first ever sweep, and Jeremy would have gotten something quite interesting as a reward. We've announced that weeks ago, but the record is 27-2. Yours truly took out Miranda and Phil. I'm not going to harp on that, but the point differential was 25. Right now, it's 21-1, so maybe that can get broken. We'll see. Mindy, Jeremy won me on this one, so another vote for Jeremy. Kara votes for Jeremy. Now it's just a matter of records being broken at this point. It looks like Jeremy's advancing. Sean says, I see Ken's points. modern remakes can be overprocessed, but London makes a great case for actually improving some original films and acclimating to today's day and age and attention span. But I'm old school, and tonight I'm just going with classic original films. Mr. Ken barely edges out my vote. So, Sean, Eric's opponent, gets or votes for Ken. What's Gus saying here? People will hate me for this. I will never stop loving Ghostbusters. I don't know why people will hate you for that, Gus. Ghostbusters is a great film. It made girls feel okay to be Ghostbusters in this. Oh, you're talking about the remake. Oh, I see what you mean. That they'll hate you because you like that remake. I wanted to like it, but I didn't. But what do I know? But you make a good point. My number one reboot is Red Dawn because it's scarily possible with today's international hostilities. Very interesting points there from Mr. Anselmo. Okay. Not quite a remake, but I would say Shadow of the Vampire. Perhaps a sequel to Nosferatu? Different take? I don't know. Will Dafoe was great in that one, as was Mr. Malkovich. We have more votes. More votes. Gina votes for Jeremy. All right. Julie says, I'm torn. Love the classics, yet to bring stories to new generations, remakes are necessary. Jeremy London swayed me. He gets my vote. Eric, we are at 25-2. I don't think Jeremy's going to break the record of point differential, but he's coming pretty damn close. I agree with you, Howard, based on what you said. So, guys, I'll count it down, but we know who won. We know who advanced. 10, 9. Nosferatu, watch Shadow of a Vampire. An unofficial sequel, but pretty much, I would actually call it more or less an unofficial sequel, a different story, a different narrative, not a remake per se. Pinocchio Joe, great matchup. Leave the original alone. I vote for Ken. So another vote there for Mr. Patera from the very ominous Pinocchio Joe who's in this tournament. 10, 9, 8, 7, and a 6, and a 5, and a 4, and a 3, and a 2, and a 1. Guys and gals, Jeremy London. That's all I'm going to say right now. Let me bring in the winner. Gals, who was that close, but it is now definitive. Jeremy London has moved on to round number 2. He went toe-to-toe against Ken Patera. Topics galore. The man lifted his index finger not once, but a few times and had rebuttals of his own. Made some points, drove them home, and now he's driving right into round number 2. Jeremy London, your thoughts on being in this field of 20 right now in round number 2?
Eat it, man. I whooped an Olympian's tail. I'm kidding. That was fun, man. That was really cool, and I'm that was a conversation that I don't get to dive into these topics too often. I do it in my own brain. I'm getting to conspire with you guys and dive in and have an actual real heady conversation about really important things. I mean, the main thing that I think that I took away from this is that these are all really important topics, man. These are really, really good questions. They were good subjects. They're timely. They're topical, and I appreciate that. I also, now get to tell my fiance that this is why I listen to the news all the time, so I can win.
And you know what? I'll tell you what, man. The reason why I had this tournament come to fruition back in December was I wanted to find a way to talk about topics that should be spoken about and do it in such a fun, competitive way, and that's what we're doing right now. So we're bringing the entertainment in while we're talking about hard-hitting topics all at the same time. And Absolutely. Our viewers, of course, and their comments, how incredible. But Jeremy, you now are in the round of 20. Round 1 was all about the round of 40. Hall of Famers, Oscar winners, again, it doesn't matter who's in front of you. You're here to win and be the last person standing.
Yes, I am. I don't know how I could possibly lose at this point. I'm going to cheat like he told me to. I'm kidding.
Well, what happens if I defeat Mark Henry and you and I go out in the second or third? What'll happen then?
You're going down, buddy.
Yeah, might be, guys and gals. Jeremy London. Guys, this is the man who hosts From London to You. Please check out our first 2 episodes on the network, www.thenewnetwork.com with a K, www.thekenewntwork.com, www.thenewnetwork.com. Who knew? We knew. Guys and gals, episode number 3 will be upon you very soon. Jeremy's shooting some pretty cool stuff early summer as well. So keep in touch, guys. Find out what's going on. Jeremy London, congratulations. Moving on to round 2.
So much. I I'm so glad that I beat that guy. I'm kidding. I'm absolutely just want to be friends with him. What a sweet dude. I know that we're on the other side of the fence from each other politically. That makes it more fun, I think. That was but I definitely have some very strong opinions with some of that stuff. So it's hard for me just to sort of keep my mouth shut sometimes and just sit back.
Class
and be
personified.
like,
you both.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's it's indicative of the times that we live in, my friend. It is just,
it's good. Well, I'm glad we had this civil discourse. 2 competitors, Mr. London will move on to round number 2. Thank you guys and gals for joining us and voting. And with that being said, thank you guys. You guys were great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patera. That was a lot of fun.
Jeremy, that was fun. That was fun. Yeah.